I want to try making a realistic human face. Not a simple smiley face or a Minecraft character's blocky face. I want to make it look as realistic as possible. But first, I want to set some conditions because if I don't, this could range anywhere from, really easy to basically impossible. Condition number 1, the scale is really important because if I make it too big, it just gets way too easy to make it really detailed when you look at it from far away. So I'm gonna set the condition that the eyes need to be just one single block each with a single block in the middle. And that's it, that's the only condition. Everything else is going to be completely up to my own discretion. So to get started, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna grab some pale oak wood and let's just make ourselves a little bit of a template. Alright, not bad. And now I think I'm just gonna start with trying to get a general shape. Alright, not too bad. We've got a really nice shape, and especially with the shelves, I think it makes it a lot easier to do stuff like this. Now moving on to the eyes, how do I want to do this? Now for the eyes, to make them visible from a long distance, I think I want to go with something really bright. So let's come back behind here and just put in some eyes. And that's just not gonna work. It's way too blocky. We've got all of this blue. There's no black or white in the eyes. So I think we're gonna need to find some way to make it look a little better, and it's definitely not that. Alright chat, I might be cooking with this one. Alright, it took me a little bit of iterating to get to this point, but I had the idea of using shelves, and I think it's great. Let me real quick just pull this out so I can show you. So this was my original idea, just using one shelf, but I felt like that was still, you're seeing just a little bit too much. So I decided to, since you can't put two shelves right next to each other, I just layered one back behind. And I think that looks quite a bit better from a distance. But maybe even better than the two over here, I decided to put a lower slab as well. So we're just kind of making the blue of the diamond even smaller as you go farther away. In fact, let me put a dark background behind here so you can get just a little bit more contrast. Okay, I think that makes it a little bit easier to see. Or maybe we can even make it just a little bit easier. Let me get like a glowstone. And I think I can just replace this block. And let's see, does that make it a little... Yeah, that makes it quite a bit easier to see. Yeah, I think we did a great job on the eyes. However, it just now occurs to me that nobody's face is indented like this. I mean, that was a pretty obvious oversight. Let's see if we can fix that. I started by going into Axiom and making a vaguely human head shape, and then sculpted it by hand until it looked roughly how I thought it should look. Then I just copied the already completed eyes over to the new face. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of struggling with where to go from here. I mean, we've got a little smiley face, but that's just not gonna cut it. I think maybe to help me visualize what I'm trying to come up with, it might be a good idea to give it like some hair or something. Maybe we can start to humanize this little smiley face behind us. Okay, I know it's really not that big of a change, but like this just looks like a little white smiley face sticker, whereas this actually is, I mean, it's starting to look like a person. A person lacking a great deal of detail, but a person nonetheless. And the best thing about this is I kind of feel like I have a way forward now, because I'm thinking that maybe if I give the hair like just a little bit of structure, or not really structure, but just like a 3D shape. Let me use this setup symmetry real fast. I've been using this because I can just go through and see it. It makes it symmetrical, which is very, very useful when you're dealing with a face, which is supposed to be symmetrical. And for the hair especially, we can always go through later and, just get rid of some of it to make it not quite as symmetrical. But I think for now, it's gonna be fine. All right, there we go. We've got some hair with just a little bit of volume, and I think this is looking pretty solid. And actually, let me just, this is more for the sake of the video than anything else, but I'm thinking that I want to catalog this entire process. So let me just real fast, I'm gonna capture this and clone it just a little ways over here, and then get rid of that, and we can get rid of all the details that we just put in. Well, and I guess I should probably swap these two as well. Now, I would like to kind of make the skin tone just a little bit more realistic, although I'm not really sure what I could use. I guess I could just try to do like stripped oak or maybe some stripped birch. Honestly, this doesn't really feel quite right for a skin tone, but it's a little bit hard to decide exactly what to do because I have these stairs down below, and unfortunately, there just aren't really all of that many blocks that I can use that have decent stairs that look the same as the rest. I mean, maybe that's a little better. I can maybe use some birch to do like some shading or something like that. Maybe since I have this long hair going all the way down, I should also add in the neck. Okay, that's not too bad. And then let's also come in and give the hair just a little bit of shading maybe with this dark oak wood. I think we can even use some stairs to kind of even it out a little bit. And then we can also put in like some trap doors or something like that to make it look like there's maybe like some streaks going down the hair. And then maybe some fences to give it just a little bit more volume. And like in these areas where the fences would actually go all the way across, I think I can just squeeze in like a fence gate, you know, something like that. I think eventually we're gonna want to change something about that. It doesn't feel quite right, but I did get a little bit of an idea for the mouth. And I'm thinking we can just get like maybe some red terracotta or something like that. And let's throw that behind and see how that looks. Okay, it's a little bit better. I think it's better than the smiley face for sure. But what if I added just a little bit of depth? I don't want to delete that. Let's move this and do something like that. Okay, I think we're kind of cooking there. Let's see if I can get something a little bit brighter. I think redstone blocks might be a little bit too bright, but let's just see how it looks. Honestly, I don't hate it. I actually don't hate it. And then this might be a little bit crazy, but let's grab a pale oak trapdoor and even a cherry trapdoor. And let's just place that up here. We can flip it up and then the pink one up front. And I think this actually looks pretty, it looks like she has like some little teeth up there and a tongue. I mean, you have to get a certain distance back so you can actually see the eyes, but I don't know, guys. This is actually starting to look kind of okay. The face definitely needs a little bit of work done to it. I'm thinking for the nose, we can just, you know, do something like that. I mean, it looks a little silly, but it doesn't look terrible. And then for under the eyes, I want to get like a slightly different color. You know what? It's not bad. Like, am I crazy for thinking this actually looks pretty decent? Nope, I'm completely wrong. Okay, so this is a little embarrassing, but I sent a picture of this to my wife and she made me realize, guys, I think I made a furry. I think I've spent so long looking at this that I didn't even really think about it at first, but it absolutely looks like a lion. Like you've got the mane, you've got the face, you've even got like the little lighter area around the nose. Something has to be done about this. All right, I'm gonna be honest. I worked on this for a while, showed it to a couple people, and I was a little bit embarrassed by the result, and yeah, I almost gave up. But I took the night, I got some rest, and I came back and I realized something that I really should have noticed the first time. And that's just that I was really dead set on using some kind of wood because I needed the stairs. But there are a lot of different stair blocks, so I made this, and this looks so much better. I mean, I do kind of wish that the contrast between the, what's this called, the light gray terracotta and the mud bricks wasn't quite so big, but this looks so much better. Or I mean, at least it doesn't look like an anthropomorphic lion anymore. I'm so sorry you had to see that, guys. But I also got some really good feedback from some friends because I kind of envisioned this as a woman's face, but I don't know, it's really kind of hard to tell. So I think maybe the first thing I do is I make the eyebrows just a little bit smaller. Oh, and I completely forgot to mention this. So way down here over the course of going through all this stuff, it was right here. I realized that, you know, when you're looking back into the eyes, you can't really see the whites as well. So literally all I did was I just took this whole thing and I just moved it forward one block. You can see this is only 2, whereas this is 3. And now instead of just having this big open eye socket hole, you've actually got a slightly smaller one and you can really see the whites of the eyes. I mean, just looking at them down the line, you can see like as you go down the line, it looks so much better when you can see the whites. Anyway, moving back to this one, I do like the idea of having these a little bit darker, so I'm thinking that I can use like some copper. Yeah, I do think that's quite a bit better because I don't really like it having quite the same color as the lower part of the face. It almost feels like it should have like a slightly red tint to it. I think I can take some buttons and maybe I can just sort of even out the top of the face a little bit to blend it in. And also I think I can maybe change the hair just a tiny bit by taking some spruce fences, and let's just replace some of these darker ones that you can't really see with the spruce. And maybe I can even like add some on the front, and let's get rid of a couple so they're not quite as symmetrical. Yeah, honestly, I think this looks pretty good. It's almost like the sun's glinting off of it, and you can see like this ever so slightly lighter brown. We're already getting to the end of this big black box that I made, so I think I'm probably gonna have to make this just a little bit bigger. But I also had another pretty decent idea, and I think maybe I can use this brown mushroom. Let's see, how does this look? Oh yeah, that blends in even better than the terracotta does. Yeah, actually I think that looks really good. And then for the top, I like to have just a little bit of shading under the eyes. Maybe some brown concrete powder would look okay. Oh yeah, that actually looks pretty good. And I can't really use concrete powder down here, but maybe just the regular brown concrete. Let's just see how this looks. You know, that might be a little bit too dark. Hey, I really wish I could just use the concrete powder. Or actually, let's just try using some string. I think this should work. Now I can just get rid of this and add the concrete powder. I don't know, am I crazy, or does that honestly look pretty decent? I think we're really getting to the end of this project, but I do think one thing that I still can do, let me just move this over a little bit. So I'm gonna clone this and bring it over 14 like I've been doing, but I'm actually gonna take it off the ground just a little bit, raise it up, because one problem is it still doesn't look super feminine, which I mean that's the look I was going for. So maybe if I add a little bit more hair at the bottom. Well guys, I spent a really long time trying to get the shape exactly right, and I think it looks really good because I got like this little curl as you come down using the dark oak shelves at the bottom, and I think this looks really... Oh yeah, well, now, I guess you can tell how long I've been working on that, because that was not supposed to oxidize. Where do I find that? Let's make sure it's waxed. And we can put that there and there. And guys, I think this is it. I think we're done. Like, maybe I could get like a dark oak button and we could use one like right here. Oh, actually, let's raise it up just a little bit. I mean, there we go. That gives it like a little bit of a beauty mark. Guys, I'm so happy with how this turned out, actually. There was a time down this line of faces when I was very, very close to giving up. But like starting all the way from the beginning, I just think it's so cool to see the progress and like all the mistakes we made along the way. Sorry, I said we. The mistakes I made along the way. But like as you go down the line, you can just see it get more and more realistic until you get to this point, and I honestly, I think this is really good. I mean, maybe not realistic, it's more like a cartoon or anime character, but like, you know what? In my block game, I will absolutely take that. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed making it. This was a little bit of a different one, but I'm thinking I might make this a new series where I challenge myself to build slightly difficult things. So if you have any ideas of a build that might be a little bit difficult or something that could help me improve as a builder, I would love it if you left it down in the comments, and maybe I can make that the subject of the next part of this series. And then finally, I wanted to announce that I started a Patreon, so if you enjoy this content or my normal content and you want to see more and you'd like to support me, that would be the place to do it. I mean, I make these videos because I love them, but if you are willing and able, I would appreciate it if you stopped by and at least checked it out. It's very bare bones at the moment, but if you do subscribe over there, this world is going to be included in the membership packet. So if you'd like the chance to check out any of this just a little bit closer up, or maybe one of the future challenge builds that I make, that will all be over there on Patreon. I'm also planning on releasing little chunks of video, like maybe time lapses and stuff ahead of time, so you can see those before the video actually comes out. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Guys, I'm so happy with how this turned out. This was a really fun and really random project, and I'll see you next time.